What's going on, guys? Twing and Timber Outdoors, and today we're going to talk about how to start fly fishing on a really tight budget. Most people think that in order to start fly fishing, you need to have a bunch of money. But fortunately, that's not true. Some of the best low budget outfits come in well under $100. Today I'm going to show you one of the most cost-effective ways to get a rod, reel, flies, and a box for all under, you guessed it, $100. So the first thing, while doing some digging online, there are some overseas companies that will produce fly rods. Now, are they the greatest fly rods in the world? No. But they will get you casting and catching fish, and sometimes using these rods will actually improve your casting when you get a nicer rod. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the rod. So the first thing I've got here, this right here happens to be a 9-foot 5-weight, alright? And this itself is a fairly decent mid-flex rod, alright? Good thing about mid-flex or full-flex rods is that they allow you to feel the line, load the rod a little better. Good thing for new casters. And the best part about this rod, it's less than 30 bucks. It's 30 bucks. Less than 30 bucks and free shipping, you can't go wrong with that. Even if you're an experienced fly fisherman and you need a couple extra rods, instead of going out and buying a $300, $400, $500 rod, and that's on the mid-price point up to the upper end, having a couple extra packable rods that if you break, it's not a big deal, is kind of a nice thing to do. Alright, this happens to be, it's a company out of China called Thor, or at least the rods are called Thor. A lot of guys in the UK will buy a bunch of these at less than 15 quid or pounds, and they'll fish these a bunch until they no longer need or can use it, and then they'll just start the next one. As you can see with a $30 rod, it's not that bad. It's actually got some nice aesthetics to it, and we covered this in a video prior, but it's not that bad of a rod for 30 bucks, or less than 30 bucks, $28, and it comes with a rod sock to protect it, and this will catch fish. I've caught many fish on this rod. So there you go. 30 bucks will get you a rod that can catch fish and teach you how to cast. Now on to the reel. Alright, you can't catch fish on a fly rod without a reel. Alright? Now, most of the time when you're fishing small fish, you actually don't ever use the reel for its drag purposes. So essentially, you can get away with one of two options. You can either buy a click and pawl reel for really inexpensive at a thrift store, just like a rod. You can buy a thrift store rod too, but if you're going brand new, this is what I'm kind of targeting right now. You can buy a fairly inexpensive click and pawl reel on online or at a store, okay? But if you want something with a little bit of drag and also that kind of looks a little nicer, again, some digging online, I found some pretty interesting things. And this happens to be a reel right here, okay? It's by Alkaline. This happens to be the ZF75, okay? And it is a disc drag system, alright? And it's designed just like most of your other fly reels. It's CNC'd aluminum, alright? It's got a nice silver and gold finish to it. It's aluminum, obviously. The drag twist adjustable knob here, it's actually got a decent drag to it. I believe it's a disc drag system. It's got a decent sound for when the fish peels, but I mean, you can't go wrong, especially if it's just going to hold your line for when you strip in fish. You can't beat, guess how much? Less than 15 bucks. Yeah, less than 15 bucks for a reel in fly fishing is very low. For a reel like this to match on the rod is not a bad gig. So far we've got our rod, less than 30 bucks, our reel, less than 15 bucks. Now on to the line. Beginning fly fishermen to learn casting, okay? You can find lines online for less than 10 bucks, okay? So less than 10 bucks will get you a weight forward, for in this case a 4-weight or a 5-weight line, if you want to overline, different video, alright? But this right here happens to be a company, this right here is Superfly, alright? And I've got a bunch of Superfly line. This happens to be weight forward, and this one cost me $10.99, but I've gotten it cheaper, okay, on average less than $10. Alright, this happens to be, this is a 9-weight line. This is for a different fly rod, but I need a new line for this rod. Alright, this is less than $10 on average. For a 4 or 5 up to about, I think, 8-weight line, it's less than $10. And there are other companies online too that will give you a line that is less than $10 that casts and catch fish just fine, okay? So the line itself, what you're looking for is probably, to start off, a weight forward, alright, floating line. and it's nice to have a bright colored line in order to be able to watch your casts as you're learning how to feel the rod load and stuff. It really helps you out. Alright, so now we're moving on to flies and fly box. Alright, there's two different ways we can go about doing the fly box and the flies, okay? So obviously, depending on your region, you're going to want to pick flies that, well, are used specifically in your region or your local fly guys or tackle shops actually suggest. That's probably the best way to go. But more than likely, they'll charge you about $1.50 to $3 per fly. Or you can ask what they normally use, and you can go on to some of these sites down below, and you can order a bunch of flies for 50 cents or less, all right, and then have them for one shipping price sent to your house. And that's what I usually do if I buy flies. I tie my own flies, but you don't save money doing that, believe me, okay? So here are two different box options depending on what you normally would like to fish. So for small fish, panfish, obviously they sell online for less than a few dollars fly packs. Now, are they the greatest flies? No. I would suggest buying a small waterproof fly box, okay? Now, this happens to be, I think, $1 or $2, 99 cents to $2.99 probably. And then I fill it with, this right here is my panfish box, all right? And I fill it with a couple hundred small panfish flies. These happen to be dry flies or like beaded nibs. On the other hand, you could go to, for example, Walmart or Kmart and pick up a couple Plano boxes. And these are $2, and they're compartmentalized. And this is my steelhead box, okay? And what you can do is you can take a bunch of different flies, and you can fill the box up. This will hold probably close to 500, 600 flies, all right? And it's cheap, so you don't need a fancy, expensive vest or pack yet, all right? Especially if this is your first season fly fishing, all right? Get a box like this or get a really cheap box online, fill it up with the flies that your local tackle shop really suggests. There are a couple really good podcasts by Orvis, actually, that detail probably the top 5 or top 10 overall flies you might want to take for trout or for steelhead or for carp or bass, all right? So maybe give a listen to those. Probably list a couple of them down in the description box below. But, you know, as far as the boxes go, for now, go cheap, okay? There's no point in spending more money for all these things if you're not sure if you're really going to like the sport. Lastly, when we're talking about leaders, go ahead and buy a relatively inexpensive, tapered monofilament leader from an online source. And if you're going for trout or you're going for panfish, a 5X leader would do just fine. And maybe pick up some 5X tippet. The spools online you can get for $1 to $3, depending. Links in the description. For bass, I would suggest anywhere from 4X to 2X, depending on your location. If you've got some 10-pounders, you're going to want 2X or stiffer. The smaller the number, the bigger the diameter of the monofilament. Or if they're smaller bass, like in New York, some of our largest fish are 5.5 pounds from where I normally fish. I would go with anywhere from a 4X, 3X, 2X. So, that being said, links to the description for all the different things we talked about today. You cannot catch fish unless your line is in the water. So before you contemplate all this different stuff, don't forget that you're learning. So pick up some of the things on the list below. Relatively inexpensive, all of it for less than $100, and get yourself on the water. Until next time, guys, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and catch you guys on the next time. And now, keep tight lines.